The Texas Supreme Court has ruled that you can forego educating your kids if you think you're going to be raptured. That's right. This case involved Laura and Michael McIntyre, who had begun homeschooling their 9 kids inside the family's El Paso motorcycle dealership more than a decade ago. Now, under Texas homeschooling guidelines, families are not required to teach state-approved curriculum or give standardized tests as part of their homeschooling, yet they still did have to show that the kids were learning something. Even with those super loose guidelines, this family had managed to get in trouble when a relative told authorities that he had never even saw the children reading, working on math, using computers, or doing anything educational besides play music. Now, look, music is nice. I think that's a great thing. I think we need to put music back in our schools. But that in itself is not an education. So that's troubling, right? Well, okay, so what were they doing to instead to make sure that their kids were educated? Apparently, they didn't believe in education. They did nothing. This family member said that he had heard one of them saying that learning wasn't necessary because, quote, they were going to be raptured. I don't need no books because the sky is going to open up and Jesus is going to hoover everyone up into heaven. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Now, because of this report, the El Paso School District eventually asked the couple, saying, hey, look, we're cool with you homeschooling. We know you don't have to use a lot of the standards, but we'd at least like to know if your kids are actually learning something, if they knew how to do 2 plus 2, okay? Now, instead of providing that minimal proof, because they had none, the family ended up suing to make sure that they didn't have to even show proof that they educated their children. Now, can you believe that? You know, in the bad old days, not everyone got an education until we created something called public schooling, and in lieu of that, also created some modest guidelines for homeschooling. And would you look at that? Education has proven to be pretty effective at creating a modern workforce, and look, people who are just educated. And that's a good thing. You want your population to be educated. Normally, you would think, right? But hey, it's Texas, it's super religious people, so of course they're going to think, we don't need no education. Now, I'm not picking on all Texans. I'm picking on this one family that just happens to be from Texas, and we've seen a lot of anti-education rhetoric from Texas and from some of these other southern states. So, look, I'm not just pointing out Texas just because it's Texas. I'm also pointing out fundamentalist religious people. Basically, what they're saying is that stop taking away my freedom to be dumb. Now, I'm serious. That was the argument. The argument was that the school district officials violated their 14th Amendment rights by attempting to verify that their children were actually learning. Is our children learning? As George Bush had said. Apparently in Texas, they're not. Now, after being struck down by a lower court, the case then headed to the state Supreme Court, where the justices made a 6-3 ruling on technical grounds in favor of the McIntyres. Now, the justices remanded this case to the lower courts, saying its constitutional questions weren't educational policy matters, but they didn't issue an opinion on the overall constitutionality. Now, I gotta ask, what a waste of time. Suing so you don't have to educate your kids. What's the point? Look, I understand, like, some people prefer to homeschool and some people prefer to be homeschooled. I'm fine with homeschooling as long as you learn something. And look, there's really smart people that have came out of homeschooling. And look, even if you want to throw a little bit of religion into it, okay, that's fine. As long as you, still teach your kids math, science, reading, writing, critical thinking, etc. You teach them how to be productive members of society, which obviously this family was not doing. This family was teaching them, well, no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to learn anything because you're going to go up into heaven. I wonder if they use that excuse to avoid cleaning their rooms. Hey, why don't you pick up your room, little Johnny? Why should I? I'm going to go to heaven any day, any minute now. Why should I clean my room? Why should I take care of my plate? Why should I wash the dishes when Jesus is going to hoover me up into heaven? any second now. It makes no sense to me, and it drives me crazy. Look, as I said, homeschooling, okay, fine, right? As long as you're learning something. But if you're not learning something, or if you as the parent teacher are teaching them absolutely nothing because you honestly think that thanks to a misinterpretation in the Bible that Jesus is going to suck you up into heaven, well, you don't deserve to be able to deprive those children of an education that they'll have to use in the future when you're gone. And yes, I said it was a misinterpretation because ask I know an evangelical Christian who actually reads the Bible and who's a left-wing evangelical Christian, and he's pointed out, yeah, no, there's no such thing in the rapture in the Bible. That was made up. That's not a real thing. That's actually not going to happen. I don't even believe in that. And he's a very religious guy. It's a misinterpretation, and these people are staking their kids' future on a misinterpretation. That's what's so sad about this. Those kids are going to be deprived, and they're going to be dumb. They're not going to have a proper education. And that, I think, I don't know, that it's going to go pretty far, but that might even be considered, in my view, child abuse. Now, stop me if I'm wrong, but I'm leaning in that direction. I'm leaning in that direction because those kids don't have any say in this. They don't have any say at all. It's the parents, and I don't know. I don't agree with this ruling, and shame on Texas for the Texas Supreme Court for allowing these children to be deprived of a real education. This is why we've got to do something about fundamentalism, man. Well, you think the fundamentalist Muslims are bad? No, they're cheering this on. Yeah, absolutely. We don't need no damn Western education. Screw that. We believe in the apocalypse. That's insane. Got to do something about it.